The night was an eternal buckle of darkness. Silence was the predominant sound, and loneliness was your only company. It was February 29th, 1976, my 16th birthday. I was celebrating with my family. We were having a picnic in Sweden with almost all my friends. I remember my mother's red dress with her purple coat, my dad with his elegant tie, and my sister Madison with her red boots and her yellow raincoat. By that time, winter had already passed. Trees were completely naked as if someone took out their souls. Even animals were just memories. No one had seen them in a long time. It was very cold. Well, it was a perfect time for me. For some reason, I have always liked being lonely and very far away from people. Those were great times. Times that will never return. That was the last time my friend saw Madison as a joyful person. I remember her happy and enthusiastic personality. Someone that, even though she had a difficult day, makes you feel happy and comfortable. A person that stays with you every time. My sister and I used to look at each other in the mirror, wearing my mother's clothes. That was our favorite activity. I guess we had a close relationship. She was more than my sister, she was my best friend. I remember her eyes and the way she looked at me. Her eyes were surrounded by bushy lashes. If you saw very carefully through them, you could see her most private thoughts. Her white skin with some moles all over her face were like stars in the sky. But her brown, long and beautiful hair covered all her back. Her lips were red. They protect her most beautiful part, her smile. I really miss seeing her, or at least seeing her shadow in the mirror. After she died, I was the only one capable of seeing her. Not as if she was a person, but as a gray shadow in the mirror, with a sad and tearful face every time I looked. That mirror was given to my mom long time ago. The last person who had the mirror on his possession was my uncle. But something really mysteriously happened to him. His name was Aaron. He disappeared 3 years ago without leaving anything. Well, not anything. His wife Coraline said that she was able to see him in the reflection of the same mirror every night. She said she could see him like a shadow. But one day, she couldn't see him anymore. She tried to find him again. She called the police, but they thought she was crazy. So they took her to the mental hospital, where she could be treated. And I could never see neither Mariko or Caroline again. 2 years ago, Madison was diagnosed with terminal cancer. It divided all her body. Her cells were turning black. When we realized she was going to die, my parents tried to give her the best of the best. They tried to give her whatever she wanted. Even though the doctor said it was cancer, I didn't believe it. I continued searching and searching and searching, looking for a cure, or at least understand what was happening to her body. Why it was bleeding, or why her eyes turning completely white during nights, or why her body had some involuntary and weird movements. What it was certain was that she didn't have cancer. She did have something else. Every day she was getting worse and worse, until the point that she stayed in her bed for 2 days without closing her white eyes. All her hair was gone, and her sense too. What it was weird was that Madison in her last days always asked me to break down the mirror, to never look it again, that I should get rid of it before. But she never told me before what. In our town, there was a little myth. Sincerely, I didn't believe it. That means consistent. If you loved a person with all your heart, you could dream with that person after he or she dies. But if that person was possessed by someone else, you could see it in the reflection of the mirror. But by looking at each other in the mirror, the demon could possess you, and eventually you would die. Some people said that if you were good, then you will have one opportunity to contact someone alive. At that moment, I just realized that Aaron had the same symptoms as Madison, that he was the same mirror, and that Caroline could see him in the reflection. Caroline wasn't crazy. She did see her husband in the mirror where I can see my sister. Oh no! So that's why my sister died. It was all his fault. But why? Then who would be the next one? How come she was an incredible person? Why someone could damage her? At that moment, I got dizzy. I couldn't see. The only thing I could see was a shadow in a completely white space. It was getting closer and closer. My eyes turned completely white. I felt that the shadow was someone I knew before, someone I really loved. As it was getting closer, I felt the presence of Madison. But she was very different. Her face was bleeding. She had deep cuts, and her rib was torn. My immediate reaction was to hug her, but as soon as I felt her near to me, she disappeared. That night was very spooky. Thunders were hitting the ground as if they were mad at it. The trees were balancing like if they were dancing. The sound of the wind was like the sound of your last breath. I thought I was getting crazy, for I started hearing some voices that said tremendously, Aaron, Aaron, be careful. Break the mirror. Break it. Break it. That was in my mind. I actually heard someone that was wearing me. The mirror was beside the door of my bedroom. It started to shine with a light that attracted you. I got up from my bed quickly. My hand was almost touching the framework of the mirror when suddenly Caroline appeared. That noise scared me. She hit herself with that mirror. One of those glass pieces stuck in her artery, causing her death. She escaped from the mental hospital to save me. Well, she was really an incredible woman. But how did she know I was in trouble? Was she the one who told me to be careful with Aaron? Yes, it was her.